It's bad enough when there are people in communities that are serial offenders, literally violent people, thieves, or worse. But what is worse again is when those people have long records, and despite appearing before courts on multiple occasions, they keep getting released. They keep getting released back into the same communities to repeat their crimes over and over again. I have a story here today. It was making the news this week, but I did a little bit of extra digging on it, and I found this person's name coming up over the years for violent offences in the Kildare area in Ireland. And I want to have a look at this guy because, quite frankly, if you're living in that area, he could be coming to a neighbourhood near you sooner rather than later. Check this out. A man living in a tent had a homemade spear. A Kildare court hears, and this was published this week. A homeless man who threatened Gardaí with a homemade spear, requiring the intervention of the armed response unit for apprehension, and who damaged a nearby house with stone throwing in an unrelated incident. Yeah, just part of his day-to-day life, really. Was remanded in custody for the former and fined €400 for the latter. This guy's name is Robert Sarafin. Robert Sarafin, aged 52, of no fixed abode, but living in a tent on the Curragh. He appeared in Naas District Court from custody on the 4th of September following his arrest the day before. Now, he has a history of violent crime and a history of criminal damage, wrecking cars and wrecking the property of elderly people, and attacks on members of Garda Cian Horan, going back for years. And here he is again, being apprehended by the Garda Armed Response Unit for coming out of Garda with a homemade spear and having a tent full of weapons. Okay? So listen to this. Garda Horan told the court how Serafin was charged with 9 offences. This is on top of the ones that he's already committed, including possession of articles, 2 Stanley knives, 5 screwdrivers, and a spear fashioned out of a screwdriver tied to the top of a stick. He also charged with theft of bread rolls and vodka from Aldi back in 2023, as well as criminal damage to a home in Kildare town on the 31st of August and the 1st of September. He was formally opposing bail on weapons charges, saying, "I'm concerned he won't turn up." That's the least of your concerns, I'm not turning up. Your main concern should be that he will go out and attack members of the public, which he has done before, or members of Garda Cian Horan, which he has done before. Garda explained the criminal damage allegation, but by throwing stones over a wall indiscriminately, he broke the windscreen of a car valued at €500. Could have hit someone in the head, could have hit a kid on the head, could have hit an elderly person or anyone on the head. Never mind the windscreen of the car. Garda explained with the criminal damage allegation, he wasn't known. Well, we went through that. He was living about 300 meters from the damaged house. And also, he's moving on to the more serious weapons offences. Garda Horan told the court he'd be well known around Kildare town with alcohol. He can be very aggressive. Yeah, he's robbed supermarkets before and stabbed security guards and attacked Garda and damaged old people's homes. So to say he's well known is a bit of an understatement. They know about this guy and he's still here. Absolute drain on everybody's time, mental energy, possibly physical health and resources. Explain to me why someone like this is allowed to remain in the country. Just explain it. How can anyone defend this? So he's lived about 300 meters from a damaged house. In other words, he'd pitched the tent behind it. Imagine that. And we're seeing videos of this all the time. People just setting up camp along the canal in Dublin, in alleyways outside people's apartments. Speaking to him, he produced a screwdriver, a flick knife, a Stanley blade out of a tent. Then the Garda Armed Response Unit. So armed officers had to be called to safely apprehend this man. We used pepper spray. The homemade spear was produced. Is that spear for fishing? A bit of Robinson Crusoe, said the judge. Judge making light of this. Judge making light of this. Is that for fishing? Are you Robinson Crusoe? No, it's not for fishing. Maybe it's for sparing other prey. We've had dealings with him before, said Garda. He's known around the town. Why don't they just say he's a dangerous, habitual criminal, highly volatile and extremely dangerous, instead of saying we've had dealings before? He was charged with theft of bread rolls and Aldi when he had access to €244 social welfare. So it's not enough that he's being given money to stay here, but he has to go and rob as well and attack the people that work in these supermarkets, people out literally earning an honest crust. He's a serious nuisance, surmised the judge when under the influence. I'd say he's a nuisance, period. He's a complete leech. He's a drain, period. A man's living in a tent and has been burgled twice. Okay, he's the victim now. He's the victim. He's wild with alcohol, a threat, maintained the Garda. The judge said, I've never refused bail solely because of homelessness, but can you give me a guarantee he won't use that weapon? Of course you can't give a guarantee. Guy's a habitual thug. I give him bail here in the news, someone got stabbed in the canal, the world will be banging on my door. So he's joining the dots himself. Even mentions the canal, mentions a knife crime. Gardaí are afraid to do this job without fear, to use reasonable force, and something goes wrong. But what's the Irish world we're living in now? A complete and utter farce, as has been said and repeated and will be continued to be repeated here, undoubtedly for a long time. I tend to believe him, said the judge. Okay. It's a rough world out there. Can't predict this man when he's alcohol, remanding him into custody for another week and setting bond at €400. If he takes bail and is found drunk in public, that will be breach of bail. I'd say being drunk is the least of Kildare's problems with this guy. This is going back to earlier this year, and this is what I'm saying. You know, if you look up this guy's name, Robert Sarafin, Kildare, you'll find a long list of articles all relating to him. This one's from earlier on this year, from the Leinster Leader. The 11-month custodial sentence imposed on a man for criminal damage incident in Naas, County Kildare. That's not the rock over the wall smashing the windscreen. This is another one. He got an 11-month custodial sentence on Thursday, January 25th, last over a criminal damage incident. So he's already served time. I'm not sure if it's 25th last. Maybe they were talking about 2024, but this article was from earlier this year. Listen to this. There he is, Robert Sarafin, at no fixed abode, currently in custody. On the 29th of August 2024, the 51-year-old caused damage to a parked vehicle in Naas. The total cost of the damages was around, say, €4,000. According to Garda Sergeant David Hanrahan, he was also charged with being in the possession of 2 knives. He's a menace to society. He's also facing a charge of causing criminal damage to an electronic keypad at a property in Naas on the 15th of January. Also caused €350 worth of damage, and the property belongs to an elderly man. Probably worked all his life, saved all his life, wants to retire and have a bit of peace of quiet. Instead, he's got this maniac running around wrecking his property. And lastly, I mean, this goes back to 2020. This is going back 5 years. Man appears in court over stabbing of security guard at supermarket and assaulting Garda. 6 different offences following an assault on the security guard and a Garda, where the security guard had to be taken to hospital and treated for his injuries at the hands of this man, Robert Sarafin. This was 5 years ago. So you tell me, maybe you listen to this channel from time to time and you think, oh, this guy's off on one again. He's targeting certain groups of people. He's zoning in. And yeah, defend this, please. Please defend this. Show me some way that you can defend this, and I'll issue a public apology for bringing this story to light. How can you defend this man remaining in Ireland? How can you defend this man being detained at the taxpayer's expense, given benefits at the taxpayer's expense, and then going out and wrecking the communities in which he's placed or in which he just happens to live, no fixed abode, living in a tent full of weapons, attacking people, a notorious violent drunk? Go on then. I'm waiting. Hit me with it down in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Are you a resident of this area? Always interested to hear from residents in the area. Are you in Kildare area? Are you in the Naas area? Do you know anything about this guy? Have you ever had any encounters with this guy? Is he known to you? If so, let me know. Share this video. Let people know what's going on. Cut and paste the link. Drop it into your groups. And if you feel like doing so, subscribe to this channel. But that's not that important. What's important is that you watch, you comment, and you share. And for now, I'm Rick Munn. This is No Risk, No Reward Media, over and out.